The alarms began with a sound no one in the command center had ever heard before. Not the steady beeps of a navigational warning, not the deep hum of a reactor overload. This was a shriek, sharp, rising, urgent, the sound reserved for only one thing. First contact protocol. A single voice cut through the chaos. It's not in the system, not in any records. Every head turned toward the sensor pit. The lead technician's hands shook over his console, his face pale. I don't know what this is, but it's moving fast, too fast. That was when Captain Veyra walked in. Decorated, respected. A woman who had faced pirate armadas, border wars, and the icy politics of the Imperial Senate. But nothing like this. What's the vector, she demanded. The technician swallowed. Hard, straight through the Epsilon expanse. Sir, that sector hasn't had a single ship in over 200 years. Veyra's eyes narrowed. The Epsilon expanse was the Empire's most secure outer perimeter. If anything showed up there, it wasn't just lost, it was trespassing. The data scrolled faster than anyone could read it. Velocity increasing, mass unknown, drive signature impossible. No transponder, no ID, no history. And then, strangest thing of all, it's not just not in our database, the technician whispered. It's not in any galactic registry. No Empire record, no Free Worlds chart, nothing. How far out? Veyra asked. The reply came like a death sentence. 3 minutes to perimeter breach. High Command was alerted instantly. Massive holoscreens lit up in the command chamber, broadcasting the ghostly blur of an object moving against the stars. Open a channel, Veyra ordered. The comms officer tapped the console. This is the Galactic Empire. You are entering. Restricted space. Identify yourself immediately, or you will be fired upon. Silence. Not even static. She tried again. And again, no reply. The object just kept coming. It wasn't until the second minute that they saw it in clearer detail. A grainy outline appeared on the tactical display, sleek, angular. Its hull swallowed starlight, as if it were made from something darker than space itself. Engineers ran instant comparisons. Pirate raider? No. Smuggler corvette? No. Imperial stealth ship. Every known design failed to match. Someone muttered what everyone else was thinking. Maybe it's not from here. The command center felt colder now. Veyra watched. The ship's trajectory change, not drifting, not random. It was deliberate. Like it knew exactly where it was going, sir. A junior officer called out, voice shaking. It's heading straight for Zone Alphanine. Veyra froze. Zone. Alphanine wasn't just restricted. It was the single most heavily guarded military sector in the entire quadrant. The place no one was supposed to know existed. High Command broke the silence. All ships in range intercept immediately. Use lethal force if necessary. Veyra's own fleet was too far away to intercept in time. She could only watch the screen as the intruder tore through space like a spear of darkness. Distance? She asked. 30 seconds to breach, came the reply. The alarms screamed louder. Target locks failed to hold. Missile guidance systems glitched. Sensor readings flickered like the object was there. And then gone. And then there again, no one could explain how it was doing this. As the comms officer tried one last hail. This is your final warning. You are entering a secure military zone. Turn back immediately or face destruction. Still, nothing. The object just kept coming. At 10 seconds to breach, every ship in the sector armed weapons. At 5 seconds, the unknown vessel accelerated, and then without slowing, without hesitating, it crossed the boundary, straight into the Empire's most protected military zone. Ignoring every hail, the room erupted into controlled chaos, officers shouting, orders flying, intercept coordinates updating every second. Captain Veyra stood perfectly still, her eyes locked on the mysterious black ship now moving deeper into forbidden space. She didn't know what it was. She didn't know who it was. But she knew one thing. Whatever that ship was, it wasn't afraid of the Galactic Empire. The tension was building in her chest, heavy and sharp. She'd been in war zones, stood on burning bridges, faced the void itself. But this was different. Because this wasn't just a ship, it was a message. And she had no idea what that message was. The command center was still buzzing. From the shock of the unknown ship crossing into the restricted zone, Captain Veyra stood silently, her gaze fixed on the main tactical screen. The blurry outline of the strange vessel had grown clearer, but it was still mysterious. "Get me a visual feed," she ordered. Voice steady but filled with urgency. Seconds later, shimmering image flickered onto the screen. The ship was unlike anything the Empire had ever encountered. Its hull was smooth, sharp-edged and dark. So dark that it seemed to absorb the very light around it. Stars glimmered, then vanished in its shadow. "It's like a shadow carved out of metal," whispered Lieutenant Kael, standing nearby. The crew leaned closer, eyes wide. No Empire ship. No pirate craft. Not even the smuggler's sleek designs. "Analyze the hull," Veyra said. Technicians worked. "Rapidly. Materials unknown," said the chief engineer, frowning. "The plating doesn't match anything in the Imperial database. No known alloys, no radiation signature either." "That's impossible," muttered another officer. "How can something that big have no radiation signature?" Veyra felt a chill. The ship was a ghost, but very real. The strange vessel shifted on the screen. Turning slowly, symbols appeared on its surface, faint glowing lines etched into the black hull. They looked like letters, but none of the experts could read them. "Is it a language?" Kael asked. "No one knows," Veyra said, her voice low. The ship was like a puzzle wrapped in darkness. Suddenly, the vessel changed course. It wasn't random. It moved like a hunter stalking prey. The ship headed straight for the Empire's military. "Command station, the heart of their space fleet." Veyra's stomach twisted. "This is no accident," she said. "It's coming here on purpose." At the command station, the tension was rising. Every officer stared at the incoming ship's path. "What are its speed and trajectory?" Veyra asked. "Unmatched," the technician replied. "It's moving. Faster than anything we have. Even the fastest Imperial interceptor can't keep up." "How is it possible?" someone asked. "No one knows," Veyra answered. "But we can't let it get inside the command zone." High Command was called in for an emergency meeting. The room was cold and silent. Filled with the Empire's most powerful leaders, Veyra stood before them, explaining everything. An unknown ship, moving faster than anything recorded. No transponder. No communication, no identification. The leaders exchanged worried looks. "This is a threat," one said. "We must act immediately." "No," Veyra said firmly. "We don't know what it is yet. We don't know if it's hostile." "But it's ignoring all our attempts to communicate," another officer said. "It could be spying, or worse." Veyra nodded. "We have to be ready for anything." Back in the command center, the ship was closer now. Veyra watched as the symbols on its hull grew brighter, pulsing like a heartbeat. "What does that mean?" Kael asked. "No one knows," she replied. Suddenly, the ship emitted a pulse of light. The sensors flickered. Screens glitched. "It's interfering with our systems," shouted the technician. "VEIs?" His eyes narrowed. This ship wasn't just fast. It was smart, and it was dangerous. The unknown vessel moved even faster. Closing in on the command station, Veyra's fleet was scrambling to intercept. They were too slow. The ship was already inside the outer defense ring. "Prepare all weapons," Veyra ordered. Missiles were locked. Energy cannons powered up, but the ship didn't fire. It moved with purpose, slow and steady, like it was observing them. It stopped right in front of the command station. The screen showed the ship's dark hull, reflecting the stations. "Lights, no movement from the unknown vessel." Veyra's officer tried again. "This is the Galactic Empire. Identify yourself now, or be destroyed." Silence. The ship did not respond. Veyra felt a strange mix of fear and curiosity. What did this ship want? Why did it come here? She knew one thing for sure. This was just the beginning. Suddenly, the ship's hull shimmered. It was like it was changing, shifting. The symbols glowed brighter. And then, the ship vanished. Gone. No debris, No explosion. Just disappeared. The command center was silent. No one spoke. Veyra stared at the empty screen, her heart pounding. "Where did it go?" Kael whispered. "We don't know," she said. "But it will be back." Outside, in the dark expanse of space, something waited. A shadow moving faster than light. A mystery that would change everything. The Galactic Empire was on edge, and Captain Veyra knew the hunt had only just begun. The unknown ship had vanished. One moment it was hovering in front of the Empire's command station. The next it was gone. No flash, no sound. Just empty space. Captain Veyra stood in the command center, her jaw tight. "Find it," she said. Quietly, her officers worked fast, fingers flying over controls. Long-range scanners swept across hundreds of light years. Short-range radars scanned every blind spot. Nothing then. "Contact." The sensor officer shouted. A red dot blinked on the holographic map. Far from the station, Veyra's heart pounded. That's impossible. How did it get there so fast? Dot was moving. And not just moving. It was accelerating. "All ships in pursuit," Veyra ordered. Across the sector, Imperial warships adjusted course. Engines roared, drives flared, and the chase began. Lieutenant Kael's fighter squadron was among the first to launch. Inside his cockpit, Kael felt a rush of adrenaline. He'd been waiting for a mission like this, something dangerous, something unknown. The black shape of the enemy ship appeared on his forward screen, distant but growing larger. "All squadrons. Maintain formation," came Veyra's voice over the comms. "Do not engage until ordered." Kael kept his eyes on the target. The mysterious vessel didn't try to hide this time. It moved in a straight line, like it was daring them to follow. The Imperial interceptors closed in. Their drives pushed to maximum. The gap was shrinking. For a moment, Kael thought they might catch it. Then the ship made its first move. It turned. Sharp, sudden, impossible. Kael's breath caught. What the? No ship that size should be able to turn that fast without tearing itself apart. The pursuit entered an asteroid. Field. Chunks of rock the size of mountains drifted through. Space. Colliding and breaking apart. Veyra's voice came again. "Careful. Maintain visual. Do not lose it in the field." Kael wove his fighter between tumbling asteroids, but the unknown ship didn't dodge. It flowed through the chaos as if it already knew where every rock would be. One by one, Imperial fighters began to fall behind. Some were forced to slow to avoid collisions, but Kael kept going. He was close now, close enough to see the faint, glowing symbols on the ship's hull. He tried to open a private channel. "This is Lieutenant Kael of the Imperial Fleet. Identify yourself." Nothing, but for just a moment. Kael thought the ship's engines pulsed in response. Suddenly, the ship accelerated again, straight toward a dense cluster of asteroids. Kael's eyes widened. It's going to crash. Didn't it slid between the rocks with perfect precision, twisting and rolling like a living thing? Kael followed, and almost didn't make it. A massive asteroid spun into his path. He yanked the controls, scraping past by meters. His fighter's alarms blared. But he didn't care. He had to stay on it. Outside the asteroid field, the rest of Veyra's fleet waited the moment the unknown ship emerged. Destroyers locked weapons on it. Target acquired. The weapons officer said. Veyra hesitated. If they destroyed it now, they'd never know who or what it was. "Hold fire," she ordered. The black ship slowed. Just enough for the fleet to surround it. It hovered in space, silent, unmoving. Kael's fighter drifted closer, weapons armed but fingers off the trigger. Then, the ship vanished again, but this time, Kael saw it happen. It didn't just disappear. Space itself seemed to fold around it. Bending light and distance like liquid, the fleet scrambled to track it, but it was already gone. COMMs lit up with voices shouting coordinates, scanning empty space, reporting false contacts. Kael sat in his cockpit. Breathing hard, he knew what he saw. The ship hadn't. jumped to hyperspace. It had done something else. Something no Imperial vessel could do. Hours later, the fleet regrouped. They had lost it again. But now, Veyra had a decision to make. The chase had shown them one thing. The ship wasn't running away in fear. It was playing with them, testing them, and she intended to find out why. That night, as the fleet drifted in silent formation, Kael replayed the footage from his fighter. He slowed the moment the ship folded space around itself, frame by frame, and therefore just a heartbeat. The glowing symbols on its hull seemed to shift into something that almost looked like letters. Letters from a language Kael had only seen in history books. A language that should be impossible in the modern galaxy. Human, he whispered to himself. And suddenly, everything changed. The black ship was gone, completely gone. No trace. No signal. No trail to follow. Captain Veyra had seen enemy vessels slip away before, but never like this. In war, ships left behind heat trails, ion wakes, or fragments of radiation. Even stealth craft left tiny digital footprints, but this one was like it had been erased from reality. Hours passed. The Imperial fleet searched the sector in silence. Veyra stood on the bridge, her arms crossed, her mind working through every possibility. Her comms officer approached. Captain, no sign of it anywhere. We've scanned every point it could have jumped to. Veyra didn't answer at first. Then she said quietly, "It's still here." The officer frowned. "Ma'am, it's still here?" Veyra repeated. "It didn't. Run. It's hiding." The words sent a shiver down the young officer's spine. Back at Imperial Fleet Command, analysts pored over Kael's fighter footage from the chase. They replayed the moment the ship folded space around itself, over and over, in the instant before. It vanished. The glowing hull markings had changed. Experts zoomed in, enhancing the image until it began to distort. Symbols became shapes. Shapes became lines. And the lines almost formed letters. One technician leaned forward. "This looks like ancient Terran script." Everyone in the room froze. "That's not possible," another said quickly. "Humans have been gone for centuries. There are no survivors." The first technician just shook his head, then explained this. While the analysts argued, Veyra's instincts told her something else was happening. She couldn't prove it, but she felt it. The ship wasn't far away. It was watching them. The proof came 3 days later. It was the middle of the night cycle aboard the fleet's flagship. Most officers were asleep. The stars beyond the viewport drifted in peaceful silence. Then, alarm, not the sharp scream of an incoming attack. This was different. A quiet tone, intrusion alert. Veyra rushed to the bridge. "What is it?" she demanded. The officer at the console looked pale. "Ma'am, you need to see this." A live camera feed appeared on the main screen. It was the Imperial shipyard at Darsa Prime, one of the most secure military installations in the galaxy, and floating inside its perimeter was the black ship. The officers stared. "That's impossible," one said. "The perimeter's locked down. Can't just appear inside the yard." "And yet," Veyra muttered. The black vessel sat motionless between 2 massive Imperial cruisers under construction. Its hull glowed faintly, those strange symbols pulsing like a heartbeat. "Scrambled defense teams," Veyra ordered. "Seal every bay, lock. Down every hangar?" "Yes, ma'am." Security forces and exosuits swarmed through the shipyard. Automated defense turrets turned toward the unknown craft. But the ship didn't move, didn't fire, didn't run. It just waited. Veyra opened a comm channel. "This is Captain Veyra of the Galactic Empire. You are in violation of Imperial space. Identify yourself immediately." "Nothing." She repeated the order. Still nothing. Then, without warning, the screen in the shipyard flickered. For 2 seconds, every display, every camera, every monitor went black. When the images returned, the black ship was gone. But it hadn't left empty-handed, Captain, a voice from the security feed. "Check camera 3, Dock Bay 7. The feed switched. A still image. Standing on the outside of one of the Imperial cruisers under construction was a figure, tall, slim, wearing a dark suit with a smooth helmet that reflected the lights of the yard. One hand rested on the cruiser's hull. The other held something, a small device, glowing faint blue. The figure turned toward the camera. For a moment, the helmet visor was dark. Then it brightened, revealing a human face. Gasps filled the command center. "That's possible," one officer whispered. The image was grainy, but unmistakable. A woman, pale skin, sharp eyes, a look of calm focus, as if she was exactly where she wanted to be, and she was human. The next frame showed her stepping back toward the black ship, then both were gone. Veyra stared at the frozen image on the screen. If this was real, if a human pilot really existed, it would rewrite everything the Empire believed about its history, ma'am, said the communications officer. "We've just received a transmission." "From where?" Veyra asked. The officer's voice shook. "From inside our secure." Channel Veyra's eyes narrowed. "Play it." The speakers crackled. A woman's voice, calm, confident. "We remember." And then silence. The bridge was dead quiet. Veyra glanced at the image of the human woman again. Her mind raced. If humans had survived, where had they been hiding all these centuries? And why return now? In a ship that could outfly the Empire's best? The mystery had just deepened, and Veyra knew. The next move was theirs. The image of the woman on the cruiser's hull still glowed on the screen in front of Captain Veyra. Her eyes seemed to stare directly into the lens, unblinking, steady. Almost knowing, Veyra hadn't moved for a full minute. Her officers kept silent, afraid to break the moment. It wasn't possible. Couldn't be possible. Humans were gone. Wiped out during the First Galactic War, their last colonies burned, their fleets erased from the stars at least. That was what the Empire had always taught. "Run it through the biofilters," Veyra finally said. The technician at the analysis station hesitated. "Ma'am, are you sure?" "Yes." The room was filled with the hum of scanners. The image was enhanced, pixels smoothed, light adjusted. The computer pulled every trace it could from the recording. The technician's eyes widened. DNA sample detected. From the glove residue on the cruiser's hull, Veyra leaned in. "What's the match?" The reply came like a hammer. 99.8% human. Silence. The crew looked at one another. One officer muttered, "That's impossible. Hey, they've been gone for over 300 years." The technician swallowed. "Then either the records are wrong, or one of them survived." Veyra kept her voice calm. "Send this to High Command. Secure channel." The message was marked eyes only. Within an hour, the response came. The holographic image of Admiral Sarek appeared, towering above the command deck. "You will destroy the vessel on sight," Sarek said without preamble. Veyra frowned. "With respect, this is the first confirmed human contact in centuries contact." Sarek's voice was ice. "This is an intruder. It's an infiltrator in a warship we can't match. She has already breached secure zones and accessed classified infrastructure. She is a threat, Captain." "She could also be an ally," Veyra argued. "If humans have technology like that ship, they're extinct for a reason." Sarek cut her off. "You have your orders?" The transmission ended before she could reply. On the lower deck, Lieutenant Kael stood by the comm station, having heard every word. His jaw clenched. He'd seen the ship up close. He'd felt something, not hostility, not malice, just intent, and those symbols on her hull. He was sure now. They weren't just marks, they were words. Hours later, the fleet picked up the black ship's signal again. This time it wasn't running, it was waiting in open space. "Position all ships in a net formation," Veyra ordered. Her voice was steady, but inside her thoughts were anything but. What was the human woman doing? Why not hide like before? The fleet moved into place. A transmission came through, unencrypted, open for anyone to hear. The same calm female voice spoke. "I will not fight you unless you give me no choice." Her tone was firm, controlled. "This is Captain Veyra." She replied, "Who are you?" A pause. "My name is Commander Elara," the woman said. and I am human. The bridge went dead silent, even though they already suspected. Hearing her say it out loud was different. It made it real. Humanity was destroyed centuries ago, Veyra said. No, Elara's voice was steady. We left, we hid, and we survived. Veyra's heart pounded. Why return now? Elara hesitated. Then she said something that sent a chill down every spine on the bridge, because something is coming. And when it arrives, not even your empire will survive. The words hung in the air. What are you talking about? Veyra asked, but the signal cut. The black ship began to move. Shall we open fire? The weapons officer asked. Veyra didn't answer immediately. Admiral Sarek's order echoed in her mind. Destroy the vessel on sight, but her instincts screamed that doing so would be a mistake. The ship didn't accelerate away. Instead, it moved slowly, deliberately, straight toward the center of the fleet. Weapons locked on, missiles armed. Veyra's voice came over the comm. Hold fire. Kael's fighter drifted near the outer formation. For a moment, he thought he saw movement inside the black ship's cockpit, a figure seated, watching him, and then his comm crackled. A voice came through his private channel. I know you. Can hear me, Lieutenant Kael? Elara said. He froze. How do you? I need your help. Before he could answer, the black ship's engines flared and it shot forward. Weaving between Imperial ships with impossible speed, alarms blared. Pilots shouted, weapons fired, but every shot missed. Within seconds, it was gone. The fleet regrouped. Damage reports came in. No ships destroyed. No casualties. The black ship could have killed dozens, but didn't. Veyra stared at the tactical map. Commander Elara was sending a message. One the Admiral didn't want to hear, but the captain was listening. Space was quiet. Too quiet. The Imperial fleet floated in perfect formation over the jagged curve of Orion's edge, a sector known for its collapsing stars and violent radiation storms. Sensors flickered. The interference made ships jitter on the tactical map. Veyra's eyes never left the central blip, the black ship. It hovered like a predator, motionless, waiting. Target is holding position, the sensor officer said. Not running? Veyra murmured. Strange. Her instincts told her the ship wasn't trapped. It was choosing to stay here. Over the fleet channel, Admiral Sarek's voice cut through static. All ships, this is your final order. Leave the vessel. Leave. Nothing behind. The comm clicked off before anyone could argue. Veyra's bridge fell silent. Her crew's eyes were on her, waiting for the command. She took a breath. Helm, advance slowly. Keep weapons charged, but hold until I say no. One dared question her. From his fighter in the outer ring, Kael could feel it again. That's strange. Pull. It wasn't fear. It was like standing on the edge of something. Big dot, and then his comm came alive on a private channel. Kael, it's Elara. You shouldn't be here, he whispered. You should, she replied. You're about to see what they've been hiding from you your whole life. Before he could ask what she meant, the black ship moved. It didn't accelerate normally. It slipped. One instant, it was there. The next, it was behind the lead destroyer. Every alarm in the fleet went off at once. Open fire. Sarek's voice barked through the channel. Torpedoes, plasma bolts. Rail slugs, the entire fleet unleashed at once. The black ship seemed to dance through the fire. Weapons passed through empty space where it had been a heartbeat earlier. Kael dove after it, trying to keep it in sight. But every time he blinked, its position changed. Not just moving faster, it was bending the space around it. Then the black ship stopped. It hovered directly in front of the battleship Vigilant. For a moment, nothing happened. Then every light aboard the Vigilant went out. Power loss on the Vigilant. They're dead in space, a voice shouted, before the crew could react. The black ship fired, but not a weapon. A thin, shimmering beam touched the Vigilant's hull. And then, whole sections of armor began to vanish. Not explode, not melt. Vanish, Captain. Sensor officer's voice trembled. They're not destroying the ship. They're removing parts of it, like it was never there. Within seconds, the Vigilant was a skeleton of its former self. silent, drifting. But every escape pod was untouched. They're sparing the crew, Kael realized aloud. Veyra heard it too. Why? Before they could answer, the space around Orion's edge began to glow. Radiation storms flared. Massive energy spikes rolled across the sector. The black ship broke off and shot toward the glowing rift at impossible speed. Sarek's voice roared over the com. Pursue! That ship cannot leave this sector. Veyra hesitated. Her gut told her Sarek didn't understand. Maybe none of them did. Kael's voice came through quietly on a private channel. Captain, I think she's not here to fight us. I think she's trying to stop something. On the main screen, the rift grew brighter. The black ship dove into it. Seconds later, something came out. Not a ship. Not anything they had a name for. It was massive, a shadow against the stars. With limbs that shimmered like liquid metal and eyes that burned like dying suns, every Imperial officer stared in frozen horror. Veyra whispered the only word she could manage. Oh, gods! And deep in the fleet's network, Admiral Sarek's voice for the first time sounded afraid. Form the line. All ships. Prepare for contact. It was so big, didn't move like a living thing. It moved like a continent, drifting through space as though gravity had no claim on it. The creature, if creature was even the right word, had no engines, no thrusters. Its limbs curled slowly, lazily, yet each shift covered miles, and its eyes. Twin suns dimmed burning coals. They watched. The Imperial fleet hung in formation, silent. No one fired. No one breathed too loudly. The only sound was the faint hum of Veyra's bridge systems. Captain, the comms officer whispered, as if afraid the thing could hear. We're receiving something. Not a signal, not words, just pressure. Frowned. She felt it too, a heaviness behind her eyes, as if her thoughts were being dragged through thick oil. Then Kael's private channel lit up. It was Elara. Her voice was calm but urgent. Do not attack. That is not a ship. It's a harrower. Kael swallowed hard. A what? The harrowers come from beyond the mapped universe, she said. They feed on civilizations. Don't conquer, they erase. Entire star systems vanish, as if they never existed. Kael glanced at the tactical display. Ships were beginning to drift backward, instinctively pulling away from the giant shape. Elara. If that's true, why are you here? Why now? He asked. There was a pause. Then because humans have faced them before, and survived. On Veyra's bridge, Admiral Sarek's face appeared on the main screen. His tone was hard, forced through clenched teeth. All ships will open fire on my mark. That thing will not breach Imperial space. Veyra hesitated. She wanted to believe orders were enough to win, but deep down, she knew they weren't. Admiral, our weapons may not? That's an order, Captain. Kael's voice came through urgently. Captain. Elara says every time the harrowers are attacked, they adapt. Weapons stop working. They learn. The words twisted in her gut. The countdown began. 3, 2. Before one came, the harrower moved, its limbs stretched forward, rippling like molten steel. A low vibration shuddered through the fleet, not through space, but through them. Veyra's helmsman gasped, hands flying to his ears. My head, it's in my head, the harrower was. Speaking, not in words. In removal memories.veyra felt flashes vanish faces of her academy friends. The name of her first ship, the smell of her homeworld's air after rain. Gone, Elara, Kael shouted.
It's I know, she cut in. Once it takes.
Enough. You forget who you are. Then your people, then your species, until you were never there at all. On the main display, the first Imperial cruiser vanished. No explosion, no debris. Just a smooth, empty patch of space where it had been seconds earlier. Panic gripped the fleet. Ships broke formation. Weapons fired in every direction. The harrower didn't even flinch. Kael's fighter screamed past Veyra's viewport. He was chasing the black ship, Elara's ship, as it dove straight toward the harrower Kael. Break off! Veyra shouted over comms. No time. She says she can push it back. But only if I'm there. Push it back, how? Veyra demanded. Elara's voice cut through all channels now. Not weapons. Memory. The black ship glowed. Not with weapons fire, but with light like sunlight through leaves. Images shimmered along its hull. Not symbols, but moments. Laughter, birth, hands clasped before battle. The rise of cities. The first human footsteps on alien soil. It was showing the harrower. Humanity the harrower paused. Its limbs slowed. Its burning eyes narrowed. As if remembering humans fought them once. Elara's voice echoed, calm and unshaken. They learned that the only thing stronger than erasure is connection. Kael's fighter locked into formation beside her. Then let's remind mate, the harrower's massive frame began to tremble. A low, resonant sound rolled across the void, not in anger.
8.
But almost like grief. For a moment, Veyra thought it might turn away then. It reached out not to attack. To take hold of the black ship. Kael's voice came through one last time. Captain, whatever happens, don't let the Empire forget this. The harrower's limbs closed around the black ship and both vanished into the rift. The fleet was left staring at empty space. The tactical board was silent, and in the distance, Orion's edge began to collapse in on itself. Veyra stood frozen, echoes of their voices still in her ears. She didn't know if they were alive or gone forever. But she knew one thing. The war wasn't over. It had just changed. For 3 days, Imperial fleet searched the empty void where Kael and Elara had vanished. Nothing. Not debris. Not a signal. Not even the faintest ion trail. Veyra barely slept. Her crew could see it in her eyes, the constant scanning of the black beyond. The slight turn of her head whenever static came through comes as if she expected to hear his voice. But space stayed silent. Then, on the morning of the 4th day, the silence broke. A faint blip appeared on the long-range comms array. Old, distorted, but human, patch it through, Veyra ordered. The sound that came next wasn't Kael's voice at first. It was a heartbeat. Slow, steady, then his voice ragged but alive, Captain. If you're hearing this, we made it through. Don't know where we are. The harrower isn't gone, but it's different now. He remembers. Elara says it's not just one of them. There are more. Many more. But they don't all know humanity yet. We're going to change that. The message cracked with static. Then Elara's voice came faintly in the background. Tell them, connection is the key. Every life, every story, every moment matters. When they come again, and they will, do not meet them with fear. Meet them with memory. Kael's voice returned, softer now. If the Empire survives what's coming, tell my mother I'm still flying. Tell her I never forgot where I came from. The signal faded. The last sound was that same heartbeat, slowing, but never stopping. Veyra stood frozen on the bridge. Her crew watched her, waiting for orders. Finally, she spoke. Transmit this recording to every world. In the Empire, every colony, every ship, if humanity is to stand, we stand together. Across the stars, the last transmission spread, played in bustling markets, in military barracks, in quiet homes under alien skies, and somewhere, in a place beyond mapped space, 2 human figures stood before the harrower, not as enemies. As teachers, as survivors, for the first time in its long, cold existence, HFY remembered a name. The end.